So, what exactly is anthropology? It's one of those fields that sounds big and complicated, studying everything from like our earliest ancestors all the way to our crazy digital lives today. But to really truly get what it's all about, we're not going to start with a dry definition. Nope. We're going to start with a story.
And believe me, this story is the perfect real-world example of what anthropologists actually do. We're going to call it the termite test.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. It's 1976 in northern Cameroon. We've got two North American anthropologists just trying to spend a quiet evening on their veranda, maybe do some reading, some writing. Seems pretty peaceful, right?
Well, not so fast. The rainy season hits, and with the rain comes a new problem. We're talking swarms of these fat, 2-inch-long winged termites, and they are all flocking to the only light for miles around, the one on their veranda.
So what do you do in that situation? Well, their immediate gut reaction, their very North American instinct, is to grab whatever's handy, rolled up magazines, and just start swatting them. But then their local night watchman sees what's happening, and he has a completely different idea. He shows up with an empty tin and starts carefully collecting all the insects they're whacking. Fast forward to the next night. The watchman comes back, but this time his wife has sent over a meal as a little thank you. So there are two dishes. One is a local staple, a sorghum paste. And the other dish? Well, it's a paste made from the very same termites they were all collecting just the night before. Okay, so what do? Not wanting to be rude, they take a bite. And the craziest part? It actually tasted good. Kind of mild, almost like chicken. And that one moment, that termite test, is a perfect snapshot of what the entire field of anthropology is all about. So you might be thinking, how does a story about eating termites explain an entire academic field? Well, it all comes down to one core idea: making the things that seem strange feel familiar. This right here, this is the heart of it. That little shock to the system when something that seems totally bizarre suddenly clicks and makes perfect sense. It's really about learning to see the world through a completely different set of eyes. And the concept that really unlocks this whole thing is culture. Now look at the definition here. The key phrase is learned behavior. And that's a huge deal because it means culture isn't something we're born with. It's not in our DNA. It's something we pick up from the society we grow up in. And this termite story just illustrates that perfectly, right? Think about it. Were those anthropologists genetically programmed to think insects are gross? Or did they just learn that from their society? Well, anthropology pretty clearly shows us it's the second one. What we find delicious or disgusting, that's all about culture, not biology. All right, so if that's what anthropologists are studying, culture, then how in the world do they actually do it? Well, they've got a specific way of looking at the world, kind of like a toolkit for understanding what makes us human. This toolkit has four main approaches. First, it's holistic, which means they try to see how everything connects: food, family, work, the environment, you name it. Second, it's comparative. You can't just study one group and make big claims. You have to compare across many different societies. That's how you realize one culture's pest is another's protein. Third, it's field-based. You have to go there, be there, have direct contact. You gotta taste the termites yourself. And finally, it's evolutionary. It's about placing everything in a timeline, understanding how things change over the long haul, both biologically and culturally. So this toolkit gets used across four main areas, or subfields, at least in North America. A good way to think about it is like there are four different lenses, all pointed at the same big question. What does it even mean to be human? Okay, so the first lens zooms in on our biology. This is, you guessed it, biological anthropology. It's all about our physical bodies, past and present. So folks, in this area, look at us as biological organisms. They're asking the big questions, like what can we learn from fossils of our ancient ancestors about how we evolved? Or what can studying our closest living relatives, other primates, teach us about why we act the way we do? All right, our second lens, this one brings us right back to that termite story. This is cultural anthropology, and it's all about studying societies and the things people in them share. This is exactly what our two anthropologists in Cameroon were doing. They were exploring the incredible diversity of human societies and cultures, and they do it through this really immersive fieldwork. Literally living with people to understand their way of life from the inside out. Okay, lens number 3. This one looks to the past, but it does it by studying the stuff people left behind. And of course, this is the world of archaeology. You could almost think of it as the cultural anthropology of the past.
Archaeologists dig in and analyze all the material things people left behind. Everything from ancient stone tools to, yeah, even modern-day trash. All to piece together how people actually lived. And that brings us to our fourth and final lens. This one focuses on what might be our single most defining feature as a species: language. This is linguistic anthropology.
Linguistic anthropologists dive deep into language because it's so much more than just words. They study how language carries all sorts of cultural information, how it literally shapes the way we see the world, and how it's used to organize our entire social lives.
Okay, so we've talked about what anthropology is and how anthropologists do their work. But the big question is, why should any of this matter to you, in your everyday life?
Well, here's the thing. Thinking like an anthropologist actually gives you a super powerful set of real-world skills. Seriously, it teaches you to question all those things you take for granted, like what counts as food. It helps you see these hidden patterns in why people do what they do. And it helps you walk into new situations with curiosity instead of judgment. And maybe most importantly, it helps you understand your own world a whole lot better by putting it into a much bigger global perspective.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that anthropology isn't just about studying other people in some faraway place. It's actually a powerful tool for understanding ourselves right here, right now, in this incredibly complex world we all share. Which of course leaves us with one final question for you to think about. What's one thing in your life that you think is totally normal that an anthropological lens might suddenly make you see as a little bit strange?